When I first landed my six-figure software engineering job after years of being a broke-ass college student, I did not expect that I would completely destroy my relationship with money. Hey guys, it's been a while since I last filmed a sit-down video, and I miss chatting with you guys so much. If you're new here, my name is April, and I'm a 24-year-old software engineer living in Seattle, currently taking a medical leave from work because I am burnt out. During this time off of work, I started reflecting on things that I didn't notice when I was deep in work, how my six-figure tech job has completely ruined my relationship with money. In this video, I wanted to share 3 ways of how working in tech has ruined my relationship with money, and the last one is something that I've never heard anyone else talk about. Let's start from the most obvious, the distortion of money concept. Working a six-figure job in Seattle has definitely changed my definition of what is cheap and what is expensive. As some of you might know, back in May, I went to Coachella for the first time with my friend. And since we're camping at Coachella, we stopped by a Walmart in the rural part of California, trying to pick up some last-minute camping gears. When we're checking out, the bill for 3 of us turned out to be around $300. And seeing all the camping gear that's in our car, the cashier was asking us whether we're going to somewhere for camping. And we were like, yeah, we're going to Coachella. And then she was like, oh my gosh, that's pretty cool. How much is it? And at that point, I feel a little bit awkward because I knew Coachella is pretty expensive. Me and my friend, we looked at each other, exchanged eye contact, and started telling her that the ticket we bought was about $500. At that point, I could instantly see how the lady's facial expression just froze. And it really put me into perspective of how expensive going to Coachella is and how this is definitely not affordable to most people. And after that, we met up with our other friend who's been waiting for us to check out, and we told her about the story. Right up till the point where I told her that the ticket was $500, she immediately interrupted me and be like, isn't that so cheap? This is so affordable. When I was a college student, spending $500 on a music festival is totally insane to me. But now, since I'm surrounded by people who thinks a Coachella ticket is considered cheap, it was a wake-up call to me of how much my understanding of what is cheap versus what is not has been influenced by people around me over the 2 years here in Seattle. And this is not just because I'm around people working in tech, but more because of Seattle as a whole. For example, this past July 4th, I went to Montana with my boyfriend, and we decided to spend the night of Independence Day at a bar in Montana. I was completely shook that a bottle of beer from the bar is only $5. I told my boyfriend, wow, this beer is so cheap. And I immediately remember my friend who called Coachella tickets cheap. And that is when it hit me that because the food and drink prices around Seattle is so expensive, I almost stopped remembering how much stuff are supposed to be priced at. It is pretty strange when everything around you feels expensive, your definition of normal just starts shifting without you even realizing. Until one day, you started to be numb and stop feeling shocked by prices that used to feel so impossible. At this point, you might argue that,
Oh, April, even with a high paying job, you could just pretend that you don't have the money, still live your old life, and then invest the difference.
but I am here to argue that it is so much easier said than done. Because it's not always about you wanting to spend more. Sometimes it's the people around you. Websites like Glassdoor and Levels.fyi are a double-edged sword. I mean, salary transparency is a good thing. It gives all of us a better understanding of how much the market price is generally, but at the same time, it also means that most people can know exactly how much I make based off my company and my title. And that is especially hard when I want to say no to a certain event, making up excuses like, no, sorry, I don't want to go to this concert because it's too expensive. Then people knowing that information sometimes try to convince me otherwise. They try to do math, telling me exactly how much I make and how in the grand scheme of things, this concert ticket for $200 is not that big of a problem. And when things like that happen, my argument of how I want to live a frugal life becomes more like a disguise of my stinginess internally, and it's really hard to say no to situations once people start running the calculations in front of me. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is sometimes you don't really get to choose the types of activities that you do when you socialize with people. For example, I don't get to choose which restaurant we go to when I'm going to a birthday dinner because it's usually the birthday girl or the birthday boy who chooses the restaurant. Moreover, saying no to these social activities also means that you're missing out on them. When people around you decided to go on a spontaneous trip to Canada, saying no means that I'll have to stay home and miss out on the social event for the whole weekend. And when it comes to choosing in between spending money and missing out, most of the time it's way easier to choose to spend money. Even the Coachella ticket that I bought last year, I wasn't the one who was like, hey, we should go to Coachella. But instead, I was just calling my friend when she mentioned Coachella. And at the spot, I didn't want to say no to a social activity. So I was like, okay, let's think about it. But I didn't realize that she bought the ticket right away and charged me for it. There's also examples like that where I just kind of felt pressure to spend money instead of saving. So even if you just tell yourself that you'll save the rest, the social side of things makes it way harder than it sounds. Up until this point, I've talked about how having a higher paying job can lead to lifestyle creep, which is an increase in the amount of money you spend. But this is not even the worst part. The worst way that my money mindset has been changed by working in tech is not even about spending money. It's about how I earn money. As some of you may know, I am a theater junkie. I've been doing it for 5 years. And when I started doing theater, it was mostly in student and amateur organizations where I don't get paid. But as I started racking up more and more experience, I'm at this point where I can apply for more serious theater companies where they have the budget to pay a stipend. And if you told my college self that one day I would be getting paid while doing theater, I am sure that I would be beyond happy. But once I started working in tech, my first instinct when I see a stipend is to guesstimate the amount of hours that I'm going to put in on this theater project and divide the stipend by the amount of hours. Usually, this equates to about $5 an hour, which is nothing when it compares to my software engineering job. Once theater company starts giving me a stipend, I start thinking about how much money I make, but that is not even the point. The point that I'm doing theater is because I love theater and I love being on stage, putting up a production together, meeting great and like-minded people throughout the journey, and none of it has anything to do with money. So the fact that I'm even making money while doing something I love is already something to be grateful of. But because I have a baseline salary to compare with, sometimes working on theater projects when I'm getting paid feels more like doing work instead of having fun, and that part makes me pretty sad. The same thing also goes to YouTube, because I'm sure, as you can tell, at this point of my YouTube journey, I am not making any money, but I have so much things that I want to share and want to talk to you guys about, and I have so many video ideas that I want to try to keep a weekly upload rhythm. But having a 9 to 5 as well as doing theater on the side is hindering my ability to put out videos every single week, because I simply don't have that many hours in the day, which makes me want to hire an editor so that I can continue making videos every single week. But once my corporate girl money mindset comes in, I start to think about YouTube more as a business, of how I'm not even making money on YouTube and I will go into negatives if I were to hire an editor. That currently is my biggest mental block in hiring an editor, even though I know that by having someone to help me edit videos, I would also love the process of making videos more. Because I'm somewhat ambitious, I always enjoyed working on side projects just for fun. And in my student days, I would be so thrilled to be even making money from these side projects that I do. But now that I've been in tech for a while, I often catch myself putting a dollar sign on every hour I spend, and that just makes me feel sad. I've been wondering if I'm the only one who's feeling this way, that earning more somehow worsened my relationship with money. If you notice that too, please tell me in the comments. I read all of my comments and I'm really curious about how it shows up for other people. After noticing these unhealthy money mindsets that I started picking up, I also came up with a list of things that I could do to fix them. The first thing, obviously, is instead of dollar per hour calculations, I need to measure joy per hour. For example, theater might be low paying, but the joy and satisfaction that I get from putting up the show, meeting people in tag, all the way to opening night is priceless, and I should not put a dollar sign on it. Number 2 is to celebrate every income source. Throughout this video, I slowly come to terms with how I simply enjoy the processing of making money, and it doesn't really matter how much it is. For example, I am really happy that I have an Etsy shop, even though I only make $5 a month, and I'm really happy when I sell something on Facebook Marketplace, and because of the same principles, I should just be happy about even receiving a stipend for doing theater projects, as well as any potential earnings from YouTube if I ever make it on YouTube. The third thing that I put down is to try to do a lifestyle deflation challenge. This can show up as challenging myself to do either a low spend or no spend month or week. I used to be more of a minimalist, but over the years, I definitely started having more clutter in my life. So I'm really curious how it would turn out if I do a low spend or no spend month. And let me know in the comments if you're interested in this video topic. And with that, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to my channel, as I will be making more videos in the future. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Go back to being nothing.
好久没录过视频了，有点小紧张，有那么一点点小紧张。让我们先来热身一下。